Hey everybody, and welcome back to Yokai Hime's voiceovers. Today we will be doing episode 9 of Florian Atlas's route of Love Spell Written in the Stars. So let's begin. My eyes slowly peek open. Where am I? I groan as I sit up, feeling my body ache all over. Suddenly, memories of the dive flood back to me, and I look around in a panic. I glance outside to see a terrible storm raging on as the wind howls eerily. The opening of a door catches my attention as I turn around to see Professor Atlas standing there with a bandage around his arm. You're finally awake. Professor! The dive! What happened? You fainted, straight into my arms. You know, if you wanted my attention, you didn't have to go to such extremes. I can feel heat rise in my cheeks as I stare into his coy emerald eyes. He approaches me and places a hand on my forehead to check my temperature. You seem to be doing all right. Does it hurt anywhere? How do you feel? Sore. The professor chuckles as he takes a seat near my bedside. Probably from all of that vigorous swimming you did. I'm sure battling a shark wasn't in that book I gave you, was it? God, no. It was terrifying. But also kind of exhilarating, if I'm being completely honest. The professor stares at me wide-eyed for a few moments before he lets out a hearty laugh. Well, I'll be. Spoken like a tried-and-true explorer. I let out a small smile as I touched the bandage on his arm. How is your arm? It's barely a scratch. A few moments pass in silence as we listen to the wind and rain howling from the outside. I can feel his gaze on me, and I can't bring myself to meet his eyes. His tone suddenly shifts as he calls out to me. Now that you're back on your feet, let me be clear about something. I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't ever want you to do something that rashly absurd again. Do I make myself clear? I swallowed hard. I was waiting for the backlash. I grip onto my bed sheets, expecting to be scolded more, but a gentle hand to my chin forces me to look up at him. Yona, I want you to look at me. Please try to understand. I'm not trying to come off as condescending or hurtful. I just can't bear the thought of losing you. I can't. I don't know what I would have done if you got hurt out there. I'm sorry. I just wanted to help and to prove that I could. Before I can continue, the professor silences me by pulling me into a deep kiss. You don't have to prove anything, not to me or to anyone. But I won't allow you to put yourself in unnecessary danger like that again. After all, there's no greater treasure out there than our lives. Aww, that's so sweet. Tears well in my eyes at his harsh but true words. I nod as he leans in to kiss me again, and I wrap my arms around his neck. But, well, I suppose I'd also be lying if I said I wasn't even a little bit proud of you. Thanks to you, we managed to salvage one of history's greatest treasures. We are all in your debt. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you are a full-fledged professional from the way you handled yourself down there. You know that? At the sound of this, my heart lights up. An excited smile plays on my lips as I look up at him. Oh no, there's that look in your eye again. Just what did you discover now, Professor, I want to become an archaeologist. I want to discover everything I can about this world and spend the rest of my life doing it. I finally found my dream. The professor stares at me, dumbfounded for a few moments, before he pulls me into a tight embrace. He leans into my ear as he holds me in his arms. An archaeologist, huh? Well, I can't say I'm completely surprised. You most definitely have the tenacity for it, and the courage. Congratulations, Yona. You're going to be amazing. I just know it. Tears of appreciation well up in my eyes as I throw my arms around the professor. He chuckles as he rubs my back and ruffles my hair. A few moments later, I'm pulled into a passionate kiss that only grows in heat and fervor as the minutes pass us by. Slowly, he leans me back into the bed. Feeling bold at the confession I just made, I turn him over and get on top. Actually, I already know what I want to uncover first. He lets out a low chuckle as I slowly and seductively strip my top off, revealing a set of pink lingerie. Oh my, you've grown quite bold, haven't you? I'm not sure how I feel about this. His actions oppose his words, as his lips immediately react to leave a trail of kisses on my chest, and just as I'm about to moan, an urgent knocking on the door grabs our attention as a panicked voice comes from the other side. Professor Atlas! We have a problem! A big problem! Come quick! Professor Atlas and I run, hand in hand, into the gathering area. Dark and troubled faces cover the expressions of everyone in the room. What happened? The angel's art. It's gone. What do you mean it's gone? After we came back from the dive, our team went straight to restoring the artifact and cleaning off the muck and seaweed. It was left in a special solution in the forensics lab that's under lock and key, but we came back shortly after dinner and it was missing. Murmurs and whispers start resounding through the room as Dr. Langdar, looking more visibly disturbed than anyone, slams his hands on the desk. Quiet! A $1.3 billion relic doesn't just go diving back into the ocean on its own. It must have been taken, and I want to know by whom. Whom? I love that word. Only two individuals in this entire facility were given access to that lab. One left before the dive even happened. The second is... Dr. Langthar narrows his eyes at Professor Atlas as people begin to follow his gaze. Professor Atlas, an archaeologist of your renown, doesn't need to be told how important one of these relics are and how much of a temptation they can become over time. So I ask you, were you the one who misplaced the relic? Misplaced my butt. It was stolen. Anger takes over me as I step forward, but Professor Atlas holds me back. How dare you! Professor Atlas was the one who risked his life salvaging the artifact. Why would he take it? Because he is precisely the only person in this entire laboratory who has come in contact with it. I had to say it like Dexter's Laboratory. Professor, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you the one who prepared and left it in the solution, and the person who brought it off the ship? Professor Atlas wears a poker face, but the way he's squeezing my arm lets me know he's angered. That's correct, Dr. Langthar. But I would hope you, of all people, would know that I'd never misplace a relic of such monumental importance. People start eyeing the professor as government officials in suits walk up behind Dr. Langthar. The doctor sighs as he shakes his head. Florian, my boy, as much as I wish I could believe that, and as much as I want to, facts are facts. You were the last person to come in contact with Ocoracao do Anjo, and I'm afraid if neither an answer pointing towards your innocence or the relic itself doesn't show up in 2 days, well, someone in here is going to be thrown in an Indonesian jail cell for quite a number of years. As the crew members who were on board the ship chime up in defense of Atlas, Dr. Langthar shakes his head woefully. I'm afraid I'm not the one imposing such sentences. I am merely relaying a message from the government, who tasked all of us with finding this priceless remnant and recovering it. Fine. Everyone, including me, looks up at Professor Atlas. 2 days, correct? If I find you your answers, finding lost treasures, I'll find you your answers. Finding lost treasures is what I do best, after all. Dr. Langthar narrows his eyes as he motions towards the officials. Godspeed, Professor. I quickly pace around my room, rage and frustration taking hold of me as the previous conversation replays in my mind over and over. Unbelievable! After the meeting was dismissed, some officials took Professor Atlas into another room for some questioning. To treat somebody with so much respect, love, and passion for this field, like a criminal, I can't believe it. Suddenly, my door creaks open, and a small pink penguin waddles in before closing it. Philia paces around, deeply lost in thought as I approach her. Philia, there you are. I was worried about you. Huh? Philia? Without so much as a sound, Philia closes her eyes and waddles towards the window, and then to the wall, and then the door. Ugh! It's no use! I just can't sense it anymore! Where did it go? Philia, is everything alright? What's going on? The little penguin finally takes notice of me as she approaches me in a rush. Master, I sensed a really powerful magic ever since we were on board the boat. I tried to track it down, but all of a sudden, I can't pick it up anymore. Powerful magic? Philia, what are you talking about? When you and Mr. Atlas came up from the ocean, Philia sensed a powerful aura coming from whatever you brought up with you. Philia doesn't know what it is, but she does know it's very powerful. Philia, wait. Are you saying you can sense the angel's heart? Well, I thought I could, but earlier it just stopped. I can't pick up its tracks anymore. I don't know what happened. I look out towards the window as a roar of lightning crashes down outside. Flashbacks to the news reports of missing artifacts cross my mind, and I feel my pulse quicken. The typhoon hit right when we came back, and we still have the artifact. Meaning the angel's heart has to be somewhere in this facility. No one's been able to get in or out because of the storm. But I won't be able to say the same thing when the storm dies down. I grab my bag and stuff some items in as I turn to face Philia with a resolute expression. Philia, listen to me. Professor Atlas is in trouble. We need to find that cross before the storm ends. Otherwise, it could be lost forever. Can you take me to the spot where you last remember sensing it? Yes, of course. Follow me. I look around the empty room as I watch Philia waddle in different directions. Well, Philia, can you sense anything? Sorry, Master. I sensed it here not too long ago, but now it's gone. Almost like it vanished. I see. I let out a sigh before turning around to watch the fierce rain pelt against the windows. Suddenly, I watch Philia's head perk up. Wait! Wait! I can feel it again! Master, this way! Hurry! Philia, wait for me! I chase after the dashing penguin as we head deeper into the lab. The fierce wind howls from the outside, and I can feel my pulse quicken as we enter the dark meeting room. Oh! Oh! Master, I sense something! Something's coming from here! As I stumble to where Philly is pointing, I just see a random bookshelf. I attempt to grab a bunch of books to see if anything is triggered, but nothing happens. Hey, wait a second. These books are out of order? I scan the rest of the books and notice all the other books in the shelf are organized alphabetically. I bite my lip as I place them in a certain pattern, one after the other. Creep. Philia and I gasp as the books sink into a hidden compartment and a slight gap between the shelf and the walls appear, revealing a staircase heading underground. Philia and I look at each other nervously. Master first! At the end of a staircase, we slip into a small, dimly lit room. As I look around the room, I freeze. All over the room, there's newspaper clippings and red markings, all regarding the missing artifacts. Shivers run down my spine as I examine a wall that's also filled with Professor Atlas's face and different publications, all marked with red X's across them. Master, it's here! It's here! I found it! Come quick! I turn back at the voice and see Philia motion towards a large covered cabinet. As I peek inside, a gasp escapes me. Along with a ton of other old and valuable-looking artifacts, the angel's heart is lying amongst them, locked in a clear bag. Instead of its previously dirty state, it now shines brilliantly with the gleam of all its precious gems. I can't help but hold my breath as I hold it up to the light. Master, be careful! Philia senses a lot of powerful magic coming from that thing. Whatever it is, I do know it should not be here. The magic this powerful does not belong in the hands of humans. Don't worry, Philia. We'll get it out of here. Come on, let's... And just where do you think that you're going with that? My heart slams in my chest as I slowly turn around at the familiar voice. Dr. Lankdar steps out of the darkness, revealing a dark, wicked smile. Oh ho ho! And it seems a little mouse has ventured into the cat's lair. I watch as two suited men appear from behind him and grab my arms. Take your hands off of me! Why are you doing this? I'm afraid that's not something you need to concern yourself with, sweetheart. Don't call me sweetheart. As I open my mouth to scream, a napkin with a strange smell is brought over my mouth. Chloroform at its finest. In a few moments, I watch my vision go black as Philia's voice cries out to me. I let out a groan as I slowly begin to open my eyes again. I feel the sensation of a cold floor press against my cheek. I only hear two sounds in the room. One is the dripping of water, and the other is the ticking of a clock. I groggily look up to see the time on a wall clock. 11:50 p.m. As I regain more of my consciousness, I bolt upright. That's right, Dr. Langdar. He... I look down to realize my hands and legs are tied tightly with rope, and a piece of thick cloth covers my mouth. Panic begins to settle into my stomach as my eyes frantically dart about the empty, dark room. Suddenly, from the corner of my eyes, I can see a small figure waddle over to me. Master, you're awake! Sylvia was so worried about you. I try to talk, but only muffled sounds come out. I motion with my head towards the ropes that bind me, and Philia nods understandingly. Don't worry, Philia to the rescue! After a few moments, the ropes around my arms come undone. I yank the cloth from my mouth. Philia, where are we? What happened? Those evil men took you, and Philia followed. There's still a big storm outside, so I think we are somewhere underground. What about the cross? Can you still sense it? Yes, but very faintly. That evil man must be preparing to escape with it. Philia will not allow it. Neither will I. Come on, we gotta get out of here and find the professor. As I undo the rest of my ropes, I stand up and lunge for the door. It's locked, but I grab one of my hairpins and I'm able to pick the lock. That's talent right there. 'Cause I cannot pick a lock with a hairpin. Just saying. I turn around to usher Philia when I notice she's staring pensively at her flippers. She slowly looks up to face the wall clock. Oh no, not now! Philia, what are you doing? Come on, hurry! We have to get out of here before they come back. Philia looks at me with saddened eyes as she slowly turns to face me. She looks down at the floor and waddles slowly forward. Master, tonight is the spell. Philia, we don't have time to worry about the spell right now. We have to go. I look around the empty hall as I rush toward Professor Atlas's room, making sure to remain unspotted. Rage boils up inside me as I remember the look on Dr. Langdar's face. That sleazy bastard! Don't worry, Philia. There's no way we're letting him get away with this. After not hearing a response, I turn around to see that no one is following me. A little pile of pink glitter flutters in the air. Philia? I call for her for a few more minutes, but receive no answer. I shake my head as I continue running towards Atlas's room. I'll go find her after. First, I have to tell Professor Atlas. She tried to tell you. As the door opens, revealing the face of the man I love, I immediately run into the room and close the door behind me. Professor, it was Dr. Langdar. He's the one who took the relic. He's trying to set you up. I furrow my brows as the professor stands in front of me, looking extremely confused. Professor Atlas? My apologies, but do I know you? Oh, that's it for episode 9 of Florian Atlas's Route. Next time we will be reading through episode 10, An Angel's Heart. All right. Bye, guys.